Hello all, this is El Presidente Tel here, bringing you another report on the phone hacking crisis that gripped the UK earlier and is continuing to make waves for politicians and media barons across this country. Before I start the main report, I'd just like to say that in the next few weeks or so, I'm probably going to do a video outlining a lot of the major points made in this book, News of the World, Fake Shakes and Royal Trappings by Peter Burden. I've got about half to a third to half the way through, and it's a very interesting book outlining some of the dodgy practices the News of the World has used besides phone hacking, and sort of a rather damning indictment of the press as a whole in this country at the time, but I'll let you know on that later. But on to the main report now, and two stories that I haven't been able to cover because I haven't been anywhere near my computer this week. The first of these is on Clive Goodman, the former royal editor of the News of the World and the only journalist convicted of intercepting messages and communications on phones illegally when he was the royal editor, convicted of hacking, of course, the phones of aides and people very close to Prince William, Prince Harry and Prince Charles. He has had a letter released by the Commons Select Committee and also published by the Guardian newspaper, and it's from his mitigation plea and his appeal on his dismissal in 2007 from News International for his conduct in hacking the phones, which they'd said hadn't happened. He states within it that, and I'm quoting from the BBC here, I'll put a link down below, "This practice was widely discussed in the daily editorial conference until explicit reference to it was banned by the editor. As far as I'm aware, no other member of staff has faced disciplinary action, much less dismissal." He also states Tom Crone being the legal advisor, one of the big head honcho lawyers at News International, and the editor, promised on many occasions that I could come back to a job at the newspaper if I did not implicate the paper or any of its staff in my mitigation plea. I did not, and I expect the paper to honour its promise to me. So in essence there we've got some kind of possible backroom deal has gone on with the royal editor, that he'd take one for the team and that they may get him back. Obviously the bad publicity that came afterwards, they dropped him like a bad habit. And most people would. It's what you do in business when someone does something like that. Now, obviously News International are going to come out and they're going to say he was a rogue reporter, he had no idea what he was doing, and it wasn't true. But his statement now coming out saying that it was widespread at the time, people knew what was going on. It completely contradicts the defence at the time that News International had no idea and that he was acting completely alone. One of these sides is lying, and hopefully when this inquiry continues we're going to find out which one it is. But on to the second story, and it's to do with Glenn Mulcaire, the other man who was convicted, the private investigator, the man who hacked the phones themselves. He is suing the News International Corporation itself, and he's attempting to force them to pay his legal fees. They announced on the 20th of July they would stop paying his legal costs with immediate effect. It emerged earlier, according to the Guardian website, I'll put another link below, News International has paid approximately £246,000 to Mulcaire's lawyers. So he is now suing the corporation that hired him for essentially reneging on the deal to pay his legal bills because it's making them look bad. Because James Murdoch, obviously, when he went before the Cultural Select Committee, had said that he was still paying his legal bills, Mulcaire. Now, I don't know, some people are going to say that Glenn Mulcaire is, a convicted criminal as well. He's a shady individual because he's a private eye. I think, he's probably got nothing to lose on this one. So he's going to go for every penny he can because those legal bills are going to be getting more are more offensive against him. They're going to pile up and pile up and pile up. I mean, in this country, it can cost at least £100,000 to take a case to the High Court, and that's, you know, really punitive. So to have someone like News Corporation in your corner paying for your defence would really help. I mean, he's still fighting in the High Court now, according to The Guardian, against an order forcing him to identify who at the News of the World ordered him to hack the phones. So this is all becoming very murky now. News International is really finding its back to the wall a bit. I mean, all the other papers and that are loving this because it's Murdoch. In this country, they don't like Murdoch, and they're willing to give him a good hard kick. So you probably won't find much of this covered on Sky News. You won't find of it in the Sun, the Times, or the Sunday Times. But it is a big story, and I'm not saying that the other papers haven't done it, because they have, and no doubt we'll get to them soon. But for the moment, the focus really is on News International, and we'll see where it goes from here. This is El Presidente Tel. Love, peace, liberty.